the greatest conqueror in history, a man who forged an empire stretching from the Pacific to the Caspian. He united nomadic tribes, led armies that crushed kingdoms, and reshaped the very map of the world. Yet, the final resting place of Genghis Khan remains one of humanity's deepest, most enduring mysteries. As if he simply vanished, leaving behind only the echoes of his conquests. The winds whip across the desolate steppe, carrying the cries of a starving boy. Temujin, outcast and orphaned, hunts marmots for survival. His father, a chieftain, died by poison, his family, abandoned by their clan. How does a child, broken and alone, become the undisputed master of the world? Survival on the steppe demands alliances, but loyalty proves a fragile thing. Temujin gathers a small band of followers, men bound by oaths, hardened by shared hardship. But then his young wife, Börte, is stolen, ripped from his side. Can he reclaim her and forge a bond stronger than any betrayal? Temujin learns the brutal calculus of power. He fights, he negotiates, he eliminates rivals with chilling efficiency. Tribe after tribe falls before his strategic brilliance and ruthless will. His reputation spreads like wildfire across the plains, but can he truly unite a people so accustomed to fragmentation? In 1206, a grand assembly, a kurultai, convenes on the banks of the Onon River. The tribal leaders, once his enemies, now kneel. Temujin, the outcast, is proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. A new law, the Yassa, binds them, but will this fragile unity hold under the weight of his ambition? The newly forged Mongol nation turns outwards. Genghis Khan unleashes his disciplined armies on the settled kingdoms of Asia. The Tanguts fall, then the mighty Jin Dynasty faces his wrath. His cavalry thunder across the landscape, but how far can this unstoppable force truly stretch? The Mongol war machine is unlike anything the world has seen. Cavalry archers, feigned retreats, psychological warfare, every tactic honed to perfection. Opponents are outmaneuvered, outfought, their cities put to the torch. How do you defend against an enemy that seems to appear from nowhere and vanish just as quickly? Genghis Khan's empire expands to an unimaginable scale. It swallows kingdoms, encompasses entire civilizations. His warriors number perhaps 100,000 to 150,000 men, a force smaller than many empires, yet they conquer lands holding millions. They control 12 million square miles, an area large enough to cover the entire continent of Africa. What kind of leader can command such a colossal realm? The universal ruler, now aged, surveys his dominion. He has brought unprecedented order and terror to a continent. But even the mightiest conqueror is mortal. He ponders his legacy, his sons, the future of his empire. Can the unity he forged survive his passing? In 1227, the universal ruler falls silent. His death is shrouded in secrecy, his burial place a mystery to this day. His vast empire now faces its greatest test, the succession. Will his sons, who inherited such power, honor his grand vision, or tear it apart? Genghis Khan's third son, Ojide, takes the throne as Great Khan. He attempts to consolidate the empire, building cities like Karakoram and establishing a postal system. But the seed of division, planted by his father's gifts of vast territories to his brothers, already begins to sprout. Can one man truly hold together such disparate parts? As the empire expands further, the practicalities of governing such immense distances become impossible for a single ruler. The empire slowly fractures. By the mid-13th century, it splits into four major, increasingly autonomous khanates: the Golden Horde, the Chagatai Khanate, the Ilkhanate, and the Yuan dynasty. Is this the necessary evolution of a vast empire, or the beginning of its end? Constant warfare, though initially enriching, becomes a crushing economic burden. The Mongols are brilliant conquerors, but less adept administrators of settled agrarian societies. Heavy taxes and forced labor spark widespread resentment. The vast wealth flows into the hands of a few, leaving millions impoverished. Can an empire survive when its foundations are crumbling? The conquerors, once a unified nomadic force, begin to assimilate. In Persia, they become Persian. In China, they become Chinese. The distinct, fierce Mongol identity, forged on the steppe, slowly dissolves under the weight of foreign cultures. Can a people retain their power when they lose their very essence? The sheer scale of the empire becomes its undoing. Messages between the Great Khan in China and the Khan in Persia take months. Orders are delayed, misinterpreted, or simply ignored. Governing such a sprawling dominion without modern communication proves impossible. How can an empire function when its limbs cannot speak to its head? The four khanates, once united by blood, now turn on each other. Brothers fight brothers, cousins wage devastating wars for territory and influence. The Golden Horde clashes with the Ilkhanate, the Chagatai with the Yuan. Their strength, once directed outwards, now consumes itself. What happens when the conquerors become their own greatest enemy? Weakened by internal strife, economically strained, and culturally diluted, the once invincible Mongol Empire slowly fragments further. Local rebellions erupt. Dynasties like the Ming in China eventually expel them. The unified vision of Genghis Khan, the universal ruler, fades into history, leaving behind a complex, fragmented legacy. The great empire is gone, but what lasting impact does such a colossal force leave behind? If you want to uncover more forgotten chapters of history and explore the rise and fall of empires, make sure to subscribe to Before the Fall and join our journey through time.